One of the honorary captains for Saturday's game for the Eagles, the former Eagle great, former ESPN analyst, Ron Jaworski. Jaws, good to have you back. How are you today?
Dan, Happy New Year. Always a pleasure being with you. I am very excited about the opportunity to win the coin toss tomorrow.
Are you the one calling it?
I don't think they will give me that responsibility.
Okay. What would you call if you were calling the coin toss?
I would call heads.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Jaws gives out the Eagles' strategy for the coin toss. They're calling heads. All right, Jaws, explain to me why the Eagles, who I thought were probably the most balanced team I saw this year, even without Carson Wentz, are an underdog this weekend.
Well, it's Carson Wentz. I mean, let's get real about this. He was the league MVP through 13 games of the regular season before his injury. This is a quarterback-driven league. And clearly, when you lose a guy that would have been the league MVP, and Nick Foles is no slouch. People are going to talk about that 2013 season with 27 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, and the great year he had. So he has the ability to play at that high of a level. But he has not played at that level so far this season. They're going to need Nick to step up, but I also believe they're not going to give him the opportunity to throw the ball 25 or 30 times. They will pound the football in this game.
Yeah, but they're playing at home. I know Atlanta got it all together against the Rams. I'm just still surprised at Philadelphia being the number 1 seed, and they're more than just Carson Wentz. We can all agree Carson Wentz is great. But it still feels like that team is a more balanced team than the Falcons do playing at home. So I'm just surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. I think the Falcons, if you look at them the last month of the season, they have played very well on both sides of the football. I thought that win, obviously had to win against Carolina to qualify for the playoffs, and going out to L.A. and beating a very good Rams team, it meant a lot for their psyche. And coming into Philly, they know it's going to be tough. And I went back and looked at that game last year, Week 10. Eagles and Falcons won by the Eagles 24-15. The Eagles had that manhood approach. Dan, hey, we're going to knock you off the ball, all the road grader stuff, all that good football talk, and they did. They ran the ball for 208 yards. When they had 6 offensive linemen on the field for 12 snaps, they averaged close to 5 yards per rush. I will guarantee you all week long, the Eagles have been talking about dominance at the line of scrimmage. They will run the football. They will run it hard. They will run it downhill because they believe that's the way to beat the Falcons.
Explain to me what goes on with the Steelers, because I said this 15 minutes ago. They lead the league in drama. And now you got Le'Veon Bell saying, hey, if they franchise me, then I'll sit out or retire. This is on the eve of playing the Jags. You've had Ben not sure if he wants to play or not. You had the James Harrison situation. I mean, there's so much going on here. Why? Why so much drama?
I like that, Dan. The drama stat. We got to start keeping that. They lead the league, and you're around coaches every week. It drives those guys crazy because that's all they talk about is focus. Stay focused on your opponent. Don't give them any bulletin board material. No distractions this week. We're 3 games away from a world championship, and yet guys can't help themselves nowadays, it seems, and maybe because of the proliferation of all the media we now have every day, someone slips up and we take advantage of that. But it's amazing. Mike Tomlin has done just a magnificent job with that team historically, and this is arguably the most talented team in the playoffs. I mean, they have incredible skill players. But, hey, I'm still not going to discount those Jacksonville Jaguars because that defensive line is big. They're tall, which makes Ben react in a different way and get the ball sailing a little bit like he did in that first matchup. So I think the Steelers are a terrific football team. But, hey, I'm not conceding this victory against the Jaguars to them.
If I said you were the quarterback's coach for the Jags, what would be the first thing you would do with Blake Bortles?
Man, the first thing I would do was coach him hard. And I remember being at Blake's pro day, and I was very, very impressed. He could make every throw. His mechanics were very solid. He has deteriorated mechanically and the fundamentals of playing the position. And that's where it starts. So, number one, he needs to be coached hard. And I believe it's a reparation project between his ears. Because when you start missing guys on checkdowns and stick routes by the tight end and backs in the flat and easy throws that coaches call to give you confidence, and you start to miss those, it becomes a problem between the ears.
It feels like he's playing for his future each week, certainly in the playoffs. Now, is that perception, or do you think that's reality? If he somehow plays well, they advance. Is he your quarterback next year? If he doesn't play well this weekend, do you think that he's not your quarterback of the future?
It's going to be a very difficult decision for the Jaguars to make because the inconsistencies in his game drive you crazy. There was a stretch this year late in the season. He was playing terrific football. Then all of a sudden, he just seems to lose it for stretches in games. And like I said, last week, I mean, it was they were fortunate it was the Buffalo Bills because the Bills could not score, but it's going to be a different animal this week. Blake Bortles will have to play better. And I'm not talking about running for 88 yards. I'm talking about throwing the football because they're going to need points in this game.
Talking to Ron Jaworski, former ESPN analyst. He'll be the honorary captain for the Eagles for Saturday's game against the Falcons. Any chance that this drama with the Patriots affects them in their game against the Titans?
No. No, they're a machine. I mean, everyone tries so hard, Dan, to find something to rattle the Patriots, I mean, creating headlines and just trying to find something to get these guys off their spot. And the Patriots are the Patriots. They're incredibly well coached. They got the greatest quarterback of all time. They're versatile. They can do anything on either side of the football. They make adjustments in game, halftime, as good as anyone I've ever seen, and that's what I love about the Patriots. What you see in the first quarter, you're going to see something totally different in the fourth quarter. Their ability to adapt in game is just incredible. So yeah, everyone's trying to get them off their spot, but it doesn't seem to work.
Are you more confident with the Vikings or the Saints in that matchup?
I'm more confident because of Drew Brees, and in a quarterback-driven league, I love what Case Keenum has done. I applaud this guy. No one saw this coming, and he's played at an absolutely incredibly high level. But when you watch Drew Brees, not only this year but historically, he makes plays when the game is on the line, and you get in these situations. They're all four-quarter games. Your quarterback's got to make plays, and nothing bothers Drew Brees. The guy's the consummate professional. They have very few negative plays or bad plays. So as much as I even like the Vikings, I'm going to give a slight edge in this game because of Drew Brees.
Let me ask a non-playoff question. How does this not work out? Is John Gruden worth what the Raiders are paying him? Or how does he prove his worth with the Raiders?
Here's a simple stat, Dan. In the National Football League, there are 113 players making $10 million or more. 113. You're going to tell me those 113 players are more important than a coach? I don't think so. I think, quarterbacks get money, playmakers get money. To me, the coach is the guy that deserves to be financially at least the most rewarded for what they do. So, hey, we'll find out. John's got to win, but I like the fact that John is back into coaching. And I said this about Dick Vermeil when he left the game. The NFL is better when Dick Vermeil is coaching. I believe the NFL is better now that John Gruden is back coaching. It's better for all of us, better for the players, better for the media. John is a terrific football coach, and he's a better coach now than when he left the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
But if he's worth that, what's Belichick worth?
Well, Bill should be the highest paid guy. I mean, he's arguably the greatest coach of all time. It's not my money, so I'd say give him $100 million a year.
$100 million and $1. Yeah,
right. Yeah. If it was my money, I'd probably settle for like $1 million.
Do you know Belichick? I mean, really know him?
Yes. I played against. Remember when I was playing, Bill was the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants, so I'm very familiar. I mean, obviously the game has changed in that time, but very familiar when I had to play the mental chess game with Bill Belichick as a player, and he is one of the guys that I literally revere in the coaching profession. When I wrote my book, the games that changed the game, one of the games was the Patriots-Rams Super Bowl game where he used what I call the bullseye approach on Marshall Faulk and spent, time with Bill, with the Monday Night Football. He has accepted some of my coaches of the Philadelphia Soul to come up to his training camp so they could learn. So, Bill loves football, and I love Bill because he loves football.
Do you have proof that he's funny?
I heard some stories from John Bon Jovi, but I'll keep those private.
Jaws, I'll see you on the field. I'll be there for NBC on Saturday. So,
hey, come on. What would you call heads or tails, Dan?
I would probably go tails.
Oh, man, we disagree on that.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd probably go tails.
Okay.
You know what?
Hopefully they won't boo me if I get it wrong.
How about for dinner? I'll go tails, you go heads, and I'll put a dinner on it.
Deal.
All right.
All right.
I'll see you
Dan.
Saturday. All right. That's Ron Jaworski, the former ESPN analyst, former Eagles quarterback, and honorary captain for Saturday's game.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.